So at one time, she was compared to Steve Jobs, and now she's a convicted felon who is facing up to 20 years behind bars. A jury yesterday found former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes guilty on 4 charges of misleading investors about her blood testing startup after a trial that lasted almost 3 months. CNN's Camilla Bernal with more on this story.
Elizabeth Holmes leaving a San Jose courtroom knowing she's likely headed to prison.
Have anything you want to say?
The jury finding her guilty on 3 federal counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud for lying to investors about her blood testing technology. But the jury also found her not guilty on 4 additional charges in relation to patients. Jurors did not reach an agreement on 3 other wire fraud charges pertaining to investors. She faces 20 years in prison for each charge, plus fines and restitution.
At some point in the deliberation, jurors on both sides, the not guilty and guilty camps, said something to the effect of, look, this is how I feel, and you guys aren't going to convince me otherwise.
Prosecutors argued her company, Theranos, promised a wide range of blood tests using just a few drops of blood, but did not deliver.
So this is the little tubes that we collect the samples in.
They argued that Holmes lied about the accuracy of the blood test, the capabilities of her technology, the company's relationship with the military, and its validation from pharmaceutical companies.
So we saw kind of the charisma, the charm, the way in which she likely spoke to investors in her meetings with them, when she was pitching the company.
She captured the attention and money of powerful and wealthy investors, among them former Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and George Shultz, former Secretary of Defense General Jim Mattis, the family of former Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, and media tycoon Rupert Murdoch.
She was hailed on the cover of magazines as the next Steve Jobs. She claimed to have revolutionized blood testing.
But the prosecution proved otherwise, and they're hoping to do it again in the trial of her longtime partner and COO of Theranos, Ramesh Sunny Balwani, who is potentially facing decades in prison for the same charges. The trials were separated after Holmes made bombshell accusations of sexual and emotional abuse against Balwani. He has denied those allegations and has pleaded not guilty to the federal wire fraud and conspiracy charges. And in the meantime, the darling of Silicon Valley with a vision of the future, now facing the consequences of her past. Camila Bernal, CNN, Los Angeles.